All right. We are back for our next Well-Being Wednesday. It is the first Wednesday in March. So, welcome back to everyone who has joined us before, and welcome for the first time to those who this is your first time joining us. Either way, you're going to get some really fun stuff out of it. Just a brief recap of kind of what this is. This is the monthly segment that shows childcare providers and caregivers like you simple ways to support your own well-being, because taking care of ourselves is, in fact, taking care of others. Whether you're an early childhood educator, director, parent, or someone who just feels like a parent some days, you are sure to pick up tidbits of actionable advice about how to support your overall well-being and get back to feeling like yourself. I'm your host, Susanna Creed, with Be Well, Care Well, Arkansas, which is a curricula concepts program that is all about supporting the well-being of our childcare providers. So today we have Ambrazia Sublett, and we are going to get to talk to her a little bit more in just a second. But first, I want to introduce today's theme. So this month is National Nutrition Month. So today we are going to talk about pretty much everyone's favorite topic, which is food. So additionally, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and Ambrazia, feel free to jump in if I say it wrong, but they choose a theme every year for National Nutrition Month, and this one is a really fun one. It's called A World of Flavors. So this is all about trying foods and recipes from various cultures in one way or another to include different flavors into your healthy eating routine. So how do we combine that and kind of make food more fun? Many cuisines offer dishes which include foods from each food group, so it's possible to plan meals that are nutritious, well balanced, and bursting with flavor. You can come across a bunch of different ingredients and flavors that maybe you've never even experienced before, and you find out that you like. So now we're going to get into kind of our discussion topic. Also, if you all are here, please comment down below. We'd love to see who's here. And as you all know, you are always welcome to type a comment or share your thoughts or aha moments, or ask questions in the chat, in the comment box as well. So today we do have Ambrazia Sublett with us. She has received her master's in nutrition and is really excited to share with us today some fun tips about nutrition, and I'm sure it will be a great chat. So thank you, Ambrazia, for being here. Let's get into it. I know that you and I have talked a little bit, and you have said that you focus a little bit more on some plant-based nutrition. Now, we all know that's a big buzzword, plant-based, and honestly, a lot of times we think, oh, I have to eat salads 3 meals a day, and nothing else. So I'm not actually sure if a lot of us know what plant-based really means. So I'm wondering if you could maybe tell us a bit about that.
Oh, yes. First, I want to say thank you for having me today. So plant-based. First, I want to start off with the why me for plant-based. I've been vegetarian for 10 years almost. I think this November it'll be 11 years. So I've been plant-based for a long time, but plant-based doesn't mean vegetarian, doesn't mean vegan. It just means your base of your food is plants, aka fruits and vegetables. And at first I thought I have to eat salads every day. Like, I don't want salads. Salads can be boring, they can be repetitive, especially 10 years ago. It really was just lettuce, some carrots, and ranch dressing. Now salads have
heavy on the ranch. Heavy on the
ranch. Yes, a little salad with my ranch. But salads have really evolved, and they have gotten a lot more flavorful and diverse with what you can add in. But being plant-based is a lot more than that to me. I actually don't really eat salads all that often. Maybe once a week or so. And I'm still eating majority plants in my diet. So what I think of plant-based as someone who is maybe trying to add a little bit more vegetables or nutrients to their diet is adding more plants, aka fruits and vegetables, to every meal or snack or drink for that matter. So you want the basis of all your meals to be plants. So if you look at your plate, you can start from the beginning. I would say make sure half of your plate is fruits and vegetables, which goes back to what they recommend for the My Plate method. If you've never heard of that method, it's just, the plate and like half of it's fruits and vegetables, 1/4 is whole grains, and 1/4 is lean protein. So that's kind of how I think would be good to start, because a lot of us, I know before I was plant-based, half of my plate definitely was not fruits and vegetables. Half my plate was bread and mashed potatoes for the
Is
most
it not
part.
supposed to be? I mean, the potatoes are veggies, right?
They are. But I call them sticky veggies. So I like to
Mm.
think of like your body as a car and food is your fuel for your car. So potatoes make us feel cozy, but they also make my engine a little sticky. So I'm going to be a lot more sluggish and tired if I eat it a lot. Whereas if I'm eating more of, the fruits and vegetables, broccoli, carrots, zucchini, strawberries, oranges, bananas, that's really good fuel for my body. So I'm gonna be able to be a lot more active and run around, chase kids. For all of you who are caregivers and providers, it's going to help you be able to run around with them, and also them to have the energy to run around if they're eating good fuel for their bodies. So plant-based can be really scary at first. I was scared for a long time because I ate salads every day at the beginning, and I was like, this isn't good. I didn't enjoy my food that I was eating. And I think that's really important, is to enjoy the food that you're eating, and it shouldn't feel like I have to eat this because that's what someone is telling me I have to do. You should
Hmm.
want to eat these because it's going to make you feel good, and overall be better for your body. But yeah, that's what I think about with plant-based. I know that was a really long-winded answer,
That's
but
okay.
yeah, it starts off you thinking it's a lot to do, but actually it's really easy to make little changes that yield big results in changing your diet and plant-based.
Okay. So one thing about me, I am definitely a scenario and example person. So okay, let's say for instance, let's say you're working with me, right? And I, for the most part, eat, you know, fried food, fast food, out 2 times a day. One meal I have at home. I can't stand veggies. I'm used to eating like burger and fries, Rallies, Burger King, McDonald's. Like that's what I'm used to. And I don't want to eat veggies. Like I want to be healthier. How can I what small changes are realistic for somebody like me who may be in that situation? To kind of start to make those small changes. Sometimes we got to know like, okay, where do I go? Where do I start?
Yeah. So if you're eating 2 meals a day out and 1 meal at home, maybe we focus on the meal that you have the most control over, which is that meal that you eat at home. So I would first
Mm.
ask, that meal at home, what exactly are you eating at home? If it's your breakfast that you're eating at home, maybe what do you crave in the mornings? Because I know some people are savory morning people and some people are sweet morning people, and then some people aren't really hungry in the mornings.
Hmm.
And there are options for each of those. So, if you're a person who wants something more sweet, maybe I recommend you get some Greek yogurt, which has good protein in it, pair it with some fruit and maybe like a protein bar, granola bar for some whole grains. And then if you're more of a savory person, I might say maybe it sounds like you're really busy, so we could make egg cups is something that I recommend a lot to people. So those are use a
Yeah, I was
muffin
like, what are
tin.
those?
Yeah. So in a bowl, you just mix up some eggs. I challenge people to add 2 or 3 vegetables, and then of course some cheese in there, a little cheese in there, and some
Like
seasonings, and put
broccoli
it
and cheddar ones, like
yeah, that would be good too. Yeah, whatever makes you excited to eat, I say add that in. And then you can put it in muffin tins, bake it, and then you'll have those in the refrigerator and you just have to microwave them for 30 seconds and you have a little egg cup. It's good protein, and it's better than eating nothing as well. So that's something for someone who's savory and someone who really doesn't that hungry, but you need to put something in your body that's more than the cup of coffee, which I struggle with every day because I just want coffee and I'm like, that's fine. But really, my body needs a little bit more than that. I normally just grab like a bar that has some protein in it and carbohydrates, and I call it a day for that. Now, if you're like, this is too much work, like I don't have time to fix anything in the morning, then maybe we should look into more grab and go options. So instead of like adding fruit to a yogurt cup, we'll just have you grab a yogurt cup that's already pre-portioned and a granola bar, and like you can eat that on the go. It's all about tailoring whatever works for you, and it may not be the same thing every day. So, one week you might be eating breakfasts at home, so that's how you do breakfasts. And one week you might be eating dinners at home. So I think tailoring it to what works for you and knowing that that isn't the end all be all every day, this is how it's going to go. You just have to give yourself a little grace when you're trying new foods and new food routines, because it's hard. Your body is used to going a certain way. So at the beginning, you may not want to eat vegetables. Like you said, I'm not interested in eating vegetables, but I challenge someone to just try one vegetable a week. And
Ooh, one vegetable a week. Okay.
Yeah. Because one a day is a lot of work. So
yeah.
One a
If I
week
go
is
from
a
zero, like my veggie is the tater tots that I heat up from the freezer and put in the oven. Like that's my veggie,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think one veggie a week, trying to add that in somewhere, whether that be a snack. And it doesn't have to be at your main meal where you're eating vegetables, especially if you're not used to it at the beginning. Maybe your snack can be some carrots and celery and some apples and some ranch with your carrot and celery, or apples and peanut butter, or like I've seen where they have like dried vegetables that are like crispy, like chips. So if you like more of a savory snack, you can do something like that. So you're not really reinventing the wheel, even though you feel like you are when you're trying to add more fruits and vegetables. It's more of, okay, what do I like to eat and how can I make that healthier or more plant-based?
I like that. Honestly, like, it's funny, I'm actually allergic to eggs, but I love the idea of the egg cups, especially like a lot of the staff that I work with, they have a 14-hour day some days, and then they have to come home and they have to feed their kids and all this stuff, and they're exhausted. But the egg cup is so easy and it makes a bunch. So if you have a smaller family, maybe you do one muffin tin and that is like breakfast for everybody if they grab 2 of those in the morning, or if they grab one and put it in between like a whole grain English muffin, like there you go, you got a sandwich. Add some, ketchup, mayo, whatever if you have time, or just and go. But like that's an easy, you dump it in, you don't have to be watching the skillet even, you just put it in the oven. You can get 2 or 3 muffin tins if you want and make a whole bunch. You could probably freeze those too. And that's a great snack. That's a great breakfast option. You can always have 2 instead of 1. Maybe your husband needs to eat more than you. So maybe they, get 3, and the little kids, will take 1. So I think that that's a really easy, doable thing. And I also love that you mentioned one veggie or fruit a week. Because a lot of times I think we have this idea in our head of, oh, if I'm looking at nutrition, I have to do a massive overhaul. I can't drink soda. I can't drink, anything else. It's just all this stuff of like, we have to radically change everything all at once. And it makes it like, oh yeah, I can add one veggie a week. Like that I can do. And it actually goes, so I heard something recently. There's a lot of different research, especially with exercise. And since a couple months ago, we focused on fitness here on Wellbeing Wednesday. I heard you're supposed to increase like 10% each week. So, until you reach where you want to reach. So for example, if I'm trying to get more workouts in and I am, starting one week with a 1 pound or with a 10-pound weight, and then the next week I do the same thing with a 15-pound weight, that's a 50% increase. But instead, can I do an 11-pound? Now, I don't know if they make 11 pounds, but just for the sake of this metaphor, we're going to say that they do. So maybe the following week I do 11 pounds instead. Then the next week I do 12 pounds. Then the next week I do 13. And then the next week, 14, all the way up to 15, because that was my goal. But now my body has had a chance to adapt it's like you've tricked your body into making this change because it was so slight, but the end result is still the same. And it's probably more attainable. I know for me, whenever, like, if I suddenly change everything, I do not stick with it. Like, I'm there for it for maybe a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, but then I fall off because it feels too radically different. But,
Mhm.
that kind of made me think of like the 10% with nutrition, where it's like, okay, for 3 weeks, can I try to add add a veggie? We always think take away, but it's like, can I add a veggie one time a week? You
Mhm.
know, okay, the following week, let's add two veggies. And
Mhm.
it's like super slow. So I definitely put that in the comments as well, just because I think that that's super important for us to know about too.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and so I think you had, as well, a couple of other tips that you were talking about, maybe some meal prepping or some meal planning that you had
Mhm.
mentioned. I don't know if you wanted to kind of jump into that.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so meal planning, meal prepping, batch cooking, it's all the same monster, just with different names and different ideas. But basically, you're making a menu for your household. So um, I do this by seeing what's on sale first at the grocery, and then I base my meals off of that. So
I
whatever
love
I can
it.
get the cheapest is what I will eat that week. I think a big thing is getting ingredients in your pantries that you can use for multiple meals. So, for instance,
Mm.
black beans. Black beans are an amazing plant-based protein. They have good fiber. Um, so you can use those maybe for nachos one night. You can make some taco bowls. And for instance, these taco bowls you can still, maybe your husband loves meat or you love meat. You can still have some ground beef in there, but maybe cut back on that ground beef portion and add more vegetables and more black beans.
Yeah, that reminds me, like, sometimes at restaurants you see those half and half burgers. Now,
Hmm.
usually those are like half like bacon grease or something and half, meat, but like kind of why
Yes.
wouldn't it go the other way too with plant-based and be,
Yeah,
instead of cutting out all the ground beef instead of a full pound. Also, that would make it like spending wise, that makes it go a lot more. Instead of using all 1 pound of that ground beef in the one meal, you divide
hmm,
it in half, maybe add in or up the black beans. Now you have enough ground beef for two different meals. Like,
exactly.
my
Yes.
pocket likes that idea.
Exactly. Yes, me too. So, for instance, one meal planning week, I might plan 3 dinners and just rotate the dinners into different things. So, if you're not really big into planning, you might just want to batch ingredient cook. So, you might just want to cook some beans, cook some broccoli, cook some corn, cook some sweet potatoes, and then just mix them up in different ways.
Oh, that
You can
that
do
makes
that.
sense.
Yeah, that's really easy if you want to tailor it to whatever taste you have that week. So I like to do that myself because I may not know what I want to eat on Tuesday. And if I said I was planning nachos, what if I don't want nachos? So I like to just
Good point.
cook ingredients and then tailor them to what I want. So nachos, as you can see, I've said nachos like 80 times. That's a really good one. Everyone loves chips, okay? Everyone loves chips, and it's a good vehicle to get the veggies in the mouth. So I'll have black beans, brown rice, corn, and I throw spinach in everything. That's a tip for me for meal prepping. Spinach, you can't really taste it, so just throw it in. It's just extra nutrients, and you normally can get it pretty cheap in the frozen food
Hmm.
section, even because if you're cooking it, you don't need to buy the raw stuff. It can be the frozen kind. It's normally more affordable. And then I also can do chili because I already have black beans and I have tomatoes from my nachos. So I can make chili. I can add some quinoa in there to make even more plant-based protein and also whole grains. Um,
Hmm.
and maybe then I could want to stir fry because I've had a lot of Mexican food. So I'm gonna take my rice, I'm gonna add some veggies, some of that frozen spinach, and I use a lot of frozen vegetables. That's another tip for meal prepping is you don't have to buy the fresh vegetables. Frozen, a lot of times actually can have more nutrients because it's picked and frozen at its peak ripeness.
Yep, yep.
So
I
that's
heard that during a recent grocery store tour. I
yes,
was like, what? I had no
yes.
idea.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing actually, and it's more affordable. A lot of the times you can get, especially just get the store brand. You don't have to get the
Hmm.
most fancy brand. It's just frozen vegetables. So,
We don't need no
um,
fancy corn up in here.
no, we don't. I just want corn and that's it. And then one that's really good I've seen with kids is spinach muffins. You can prep these ahead of time. So, muffin mix,
I'm
you
gonna need
just,
more info on this.
yes, so spinach muffins, they're green, which is so exciting because it's March, St. Patrick's Day is coming up. So you can do these for St. Patrick's Day if you wanted. You can actually do this all in a blender, but if you don't have a blender, that's totally fine. You'll just blend it all up. You blend your flour, your milk, your sugar, spinach, some baking soda, baking powder, that kind of thing. Blend it up and you have spinach muffins, and you can put those in the freezer and pop them out whenever you want them. But those are also really fun, and they're green, which is cool.
Okay.
Uh,
So
yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, I need to see. Y'all, I just Googled
Yeah.
spinach muffins and these delicious recipes came up. So I'm trying to share it in the chat right now. You'll see they look adorable. And yeah, that's a great one too, because yeah, March, St. Patrick's
Hmm.
Day, also coming up with, taste around the world. Like you can talk about, different Irish culture. Why is, shamrock, like, why is that
Hmm.
a thing? What is St. Patrick and all that stuff? So it's a great talking point with your kids over the table, and you're helping not only them, but you get in spinach in a way that is like a dessert looking thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, you can freeze them and then just reheat them so you can make a big old batch. But I mean, that just sounds like a great win overall. I mean, man, I did not know that was possible.
Yeah, and almost all the meals that I've said, like the stir fry, the chili, the nacho stuff, minus the chips, of course, and the spinach muffins, can all be frozen. So freezing is like my best friend because I'm party of one. So if you have a smaller family,
Mm-hmm.
this might be good so you don't waste food, portion out however much you think you guys need for the week and then freeze the rest. So then you have it maybe next week when you're too busy to think about what to cook, you can just pull it out of the freezer.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's one of my favorite things to do. Like that was literally, my lunch today. We made a bunch of meals. And by we, I mean my boyfriend, he made the meals. I just got to sit back and enjoy them, but he made a lot of meals and we hadn't eaten all of them. So we just took them, they were already portioned out. Cause that's you talked about batch cooking, and I'm definitely like the meal prepper where it's like, all right, let me have the whole thing ready to go in a Tupperware. And so we just moved it. Okay, we're not going to eat them in time. Boom, boom, put it in the freezer. And today I was running behind and I had to quickly grab something and I got a freezer meal, and we were able to do that. And it is super convenient, especially if I find, because it's just the two of us. So it is a lot easier in that sense. And also, if you just end up making a lot more than you thought, that's fine. You can just stick some in the freezer ahead of time because then you don't have to worry about, oh, is it still good or is it not? That's one of my pet peeves. I hate throwing away food. I hate when I've wasted something, especially if it could have been prevented. And so it's like, if you make a ton and you're really not sure, just stick it in the freezer. Worst that's going to happen, you need to heat it back up. It's not going to
Exactly.
change the flavor too much. And it makes sure that you're not wasting money or the food. And you're also not feeling like you have to eat everything right away. So
Hmm. Yeah.
definitely, I love all of those ideas. I
Yay.
want to make spinach muffins now. Like
Yeah,
y'all,
me too.
I'm seriously, we're gonna make that happen. And if you all have recipes, also one of the things, and Ambrazia, feel free as well on the Curricula Concepts page. Throughout this month, we are going to be posting on the Facebook page, which is open to the public, different recipes from around the world. Some of our coaches are going to be posting those, as well as different nutrition resources that are out there. So if I do end up making spinach muffins, or if any of you end up making spinach muffins, please share your photo with us. That would be awesome. I would love to see what recipe, because I thought it was just going to be like one recipe. No, there's a whole bunch of recipes. And so I want to see like what are the ones that you all found and what are the ones that you all liked as well. So I do want to check in the chat real quick to see if there's any questions here. Too much in the pantry. Okay, here's a question that we have in our last couple minutes. Someone shared, I have too much in my pantry sometimes and need to be creative to use what I have first. Any ideas?
Yeah, I would probably need to, you probably need to send me a picture of your pantry and I will give you lots of ideas. I would say, Google is your best friend. And if you are like maybe you have a ton of corn. I don't know. I don't know what people have, Maybe you need to Google what people eat with corn or how they eat it. Seasoning things differently, it can also change the flavor profile. So like the flavors around the world curries are my best friend.
Ooh.
They originate in like Asia, so like Thai and Indian curries are my favorite, and I just throw a bunch of vegetables in and some curry sauce that I buy at the store because sometimes I don't have time to do all the spices, and put it on some brown rice and I have a meal. So I think maybe try Googling how people use those different vegetables and maybe different cuisines that you're not used to. I have to know exactly what's in your pantry, but I'm interested. I want to see your pantry. I love people's pantry tours on Instagram. So
That's awesome.
yeah, but
I
that's what I
love
would
it.
suggest. Googling to see what exactly other people might make might spark some ideas for you.
Yeah, and I think too with that, because I know where I get caught sometimes is I'm like, okay, I have black beans. So I look up just black bean recipes and then it shows me a recipe that looks really good, but then it has all these other things that I don't have. So what might be also helpful, and Ambrazia, feel free to correct me on this. But maybe when you Google, like if you know you want to use a couple of different things in your pantry, put them all in the Google search bar, like recipes with black beans, brown rice, canned corn, Italian diced tomatoes, and see. So then it's like multiple things. So it's not like, oh, I can use this one thing, but now I've just added like 18 other things to my pantry. So that could be possible. In the chat here, I have also shared, Ambrazia has been willing to share her email with us. So I have shared that there. So you can feel free to either you can comment on the post itself here, what a picture of your pantry, and maybe Ambrazia, you and I can kind of like, you can come on back and give like some feedback and tips, or you can email Ambrazia directly as well. But I think we are just about out of time. My mind is still blown from the spinach muffins. I know I've said it like 8 times, but I cannot believe that is such a delicious and wonderful thing. So all right, I'm gonna get off of that because I'm gonna definitely find a time for me to make some batch of those. So thank you again, Ambrazia, for joining us today. I love all these tips. They were really, really doable. I hope that you all watching either live with us now or on the replay, I hope that you are taking some notes, and also feel free to rewatch it. I hope that you are getting a lot of little nutrition tips that are fun and things that you would want to do, like those spinach. Just saying. Before we close out, I do want to give a special shout out to our partners at University of Arkansas's Early Care and Education projects. They are the ones who help bring Be Well, Care Well, and by default, Wellbeing Wednesday to Arkansas. So please make sure to follow Curricula Concepts on Facebook and Instagrams if you don't already, so you don't miss a thing, or our next posts about all these wonderful recipes, and also information about our next Wellbeing Wednesday next month. So if you like today's show, share it with your friends, family, and coworkers. And if you are a child care provider and want to learn more about possibly enrolling your program in Be Well, Care Well, I'm going to put some information in the comments below, and you will be able to put that on here. There we go. That is in the comments. This has been another Wellbeing Wednesday, y'all. I am your host, Susanna Creed, and I'm wishing you well for the rest of your week. Bye, everyone.